How you doing, YouTube? Matt with Massive Beer Reviews, back with yet another review. Wade in tow. Say hi, Wade.
Hi.
Say hi, Wade.
Hi, Wade.
There it is. That's what I was waiting for.
I was tricking him.
I know, he knows what I'm looking for. Anyway, we're going to be doing a brewery beer tonight. A lot of you guys have had brewery beers. Maybe some of you hadn't. I'm a big fan of their beers because they make really big beers, and typically they're usually good. And this year we're going to be doing their anniversary beer. This year's anniversary beer. I had their Bois. I've had multiple iterations of the Bois and some of their other anniversary beers, but I haven't had this one this year. Have you?
Not yet, no.
Not yet.
It's a first timer for me.
So I'm pretty excited to give it a whirl. Brewery, label-wise, just start off with that. Their labels are what beer, I think, labels should be. They're like totally, I just love them. Something about them just makes sense to me. I mean, they're fancy enough to where they look nice, but they're not overly pretentious. They just look like a label on a good beer. On this one, it just says brewed and bottled by the Family Brewery, unfiltered anniversary ale, Sucre. Let's see, it is 100% ale. It's nice to have 100% ale. Aged in bourbon barrels. Oh, it contains alcohol.
Oh, that's a
Hey,
plus.
how about that? Thank God.
I would hope so.
It has 16.9% alcohol.
That's nothing.
Yeah, it's all right, whatever. And it says this sturdy beer marks our 6th anniversary, and we are grateful for the outpouring of our community. Together, many of our supporters, our brewery, and this beer grow in complexity and refinement over the years. Established 2008, Brewery hasn't been in it long, but they make awesome, good beers typically, so we'll see how this goes. Orange County, California, that's pretty much it. In the back it says drink out of kind of a tulipy style glass, yada yada yada, whatever, we're going to drink it. So there you go. So let's see what she has to offer while I cut into this sucker. What brewery beers have you had?
I've had the Chocolate Rain, I've had a Black Tuesday, I had a Gray Monday, I had the Six Geese Laying, I've had the Tart of Darkness. I've had quite a few of their beers. A lot of their beers, in the darker section are very similar to one another, but their range from, the sour and the rye, it all changes. It's, they have a good variety. It's more of a hard beer to get your hands on. You can get your hands on the common ones, but the uncommon are uncommon.
And I know for you and a lot of people, they get frustrated because they don't want to deal with having to be a member in the club to get the beer.
Of course, because I'm on the East Coast, and they'll only ship to their members on the West Coast.
Well, they won't even ship, right? They'll just sell it, and then you have to get a separate.
Well, unless you live in California, then they'll ship it to you in California, but they won't ship it outside the state.
Which is whatever. I mean, you can understand, I can understand where they're coming from, but at the same time, when I want their beer and I want it and I have to jump through hoops, it's kind of annoying. But.
Yeah, then I don't want your beer as much. If I'm going to go through that much trouble, and no offense, I'm going to go get me a Thomas Hardy.
Exactly.
If I'm going to get through some trouble, I'm going to get a beer that's delicious and nobody can hold a candle to.
But tonight, we're holding the candle of this sucker, so I better deliver.
Well, it was easily attainable for only like $28, I believe. $22 to $28, I don't remember, but it was in that range. At that day, I bought many beers, and I just grabbed it off the shelf and noticed 20-something.
I'm a big brewery fan. I like their beers, but there's one caveat I typically have with their beers. Like I said, I haven't had this one yet, but the problem I have typically with their beers is they're all very similar. Like, they're big beers, but they're all kind of like, instead of being all different beasts, what it is the same car with different options. That's typically what I say about the brewery. Especially with their bigger beers, like your Chocolate Rain, Mocha, whatever, Tuesday Rain, all that stuff. They're all very similar in themselves because they're all the old ale style, but they're just a little bit different. Head-wise, not too much. 17% ABV, you're not going to expect a big head. Very, very super dark brown. Thickness, not crazy thick, but I mean thick. I mean, the glass even feels heavier than what I typically feel.
Smells a lot like
probably
the
a little
other
density.
Like the other high.
Yeah, I mean, it smells like a roasty, chocolate, hazelnutty old ale, which is a good thing. I'm not complaining about that.
A little bit of sour smell.
But there's that typical brewery smell to a lot of their bigger, high ABV, darker beers, and they're, like I said, they're typically the same car, just a little bit different options. It's like not like this is a Lamborghini, this is a Ferrari, this is a Lotus. It's like, oh, this is a Ferrari with this option, this is a Ferrari with that option. So a little bit different, but
lots of dates on that right there. I could smell.
Dates. I can get where you're getting that from the sourness. I wouldn't call it sour more than I don't know if it's an overly yeastiness or something like that. It's just dates. Same thing with figs. Ton of malts, caramel, coffee. All that huge old ale style smells you get from it. Let's get into it. Cheers.
Cheers to you people out there in TV land.
It's good beer. True. I like that beer.
For a 17%er, well, 16.9 to be technical for you geeks out there. It is 17%. It doesn't have a 17% kind of mouthfeel.
But there's booziness there, but it's not like crazy boozy,
See, now you get that. You get that plummy taste and like.
I got the super tiny tinge of heartburn going on there. Just not
heartburn.
It could
be the other 4 beers, but
it could be that.
It could be the ribs I ate before too. But little chocolate, a little raisiny, and almost like a raisinette, but raisinets that have been sitting around for 2 years.
Yeah.
So they're stale, but they still got that little bit.
What it is, if you watch any of our reviews before, and if you heard me talk about aged beer, and like we like aged beer, one of our white whale with aged beer is that raisinette taste, that chocolate and raisiny date taste. We love that. For me, what I get from this is them trying to synthesize that taste as opposed to it happening with actual age.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That's what I'm getting from it. Like, for example, like a Bourbon County stout. Like a lot of your aged stouts, they taste aged, but for me, a worldwide stout is not barrel aged, but tastes like a barrel aged stout. Somehow they do the opposite. They mimic age in a good way. Where it's not that this is a bad thing, but it needs some time.
Well, this is the 2014,
It's hot off the press.
Yeah, so just maybe sitting around for about a good 4 or 5 years, which is, I guess, the reason they put the wax on top, because they want you to age this stuff.
Oh, yeah.
They want you to just fight your feeling of drinking and sit there and look at it, which is not what I do.
No. Beer's meant to be drank.
I buy, I drink
it.
I have some beers sitting around, but it's only because I bought 20 of them at a time, and I just can't drink 20 in a night. So, they sit around for a couple weeks.
We can.
I
don't.
I can, but, I won't be able to talk to you.
Yeah. Maybe a little mumble, but I mean, like overall, it's like I think it's a really good beer. I like what they're trying to put out. It definitely needs some age. Probably would say at least minimum 4 to 5 years to make it stellar. But it's typical. It's like you're not to go generic on it, but toffee, molasses, dates, figs,
actually,
the whole like big, darker. Like huge, bigger beer flavors.
I could taste the Castle Donker, the Bruin that we were just had before. A little bit of hints in here of that.
That butteriness.
Yeah,
that little bit of butteriness.
This 10 years down the road, if I took this bottle and we sat it down in the basement for 10 years and there was no floods or earthquakes or whatever, this would be probably a stellar beer.
And this is how I would place it. Like we did reviewed a several-year-old Castle Donker. And it was a fantastic beer. And this is similar in a lot of aspects, even though it's 2 different styles of beer. But here's the big difference. The Castle, this beer, is a dude who's really good at what they do, who says, I'm awesome. Whereas the Donker is the guy who's awesome, who's like, doesn't say he's awesome. He just sits back and he's like, go ahead, you do your thing. Like, he's not boisterous. He's not fancy. Like, the Donker, this has jacked up malts, jacked up this, jacked up that, to where it's like, I'm awesome. Where the Donker has all those flavors, they're not as jacked up, but they're so harmonic that they're just work so much better together. To where that's why it's a better beer, because it's more well-balanced and cohesive, as opposed to being, like, everything cranked to 11 and not, like, as subdued. That's my take on it.
This is like an 800 horsepower Lexus as compared to the Donker. It's like a 57 Chevy Bel Air.
Yeah. Classy and awesome, as opposed to this being in your face awesome.
Yeah, that's it. That's the only that you can tell that they're trying, and they're 6 years under their belt, which you can't really.
I mean, for somebody who's only making beers for 6 years,
yeah,
you have to tip your cap to them.
How do we know that? Because it's the 6th anniversary.
Yes. As far as rating goes, if I was going to rate it on an old ale scale, I'm going to give it a great rating. I'm going to give it like a 93 again.
I'd have to give it in the early 90s, mid 90s, only because it still has that little burn, and it needs to just mellow itself out with age, which we didn't give it the time that it should.
Yeah. And honestly, which I'm fine doing, because I want to taste it now and I want to taste it in 5 years so I know the difference. So, I mean, a lot of people are like, oh, you shouldn't drink that. It's new. You should let it age. Well, I want to taste it when it's new and I want to taste it when it's old. So that way I know the difference.
That's why you buy more than one bottle.
Yeah. Exactly.
Try to buy 20.
Yeah. Buy like 19,000 bottles. And if you don't want them all, send them to us. And we'll try them all for you.
We'll tell you how bad they were.
Availability-wise, yeah, this is so bad. Availability-wise, it's weird because
For the liver.
Yeah, fuck you, liver. Availability-wise, Brewery's weird because a lot of this stuff I'm technically not supposed to get in this area because it's not supposed to be distributed, but I can pretty much get it whenever I want, so it's like one of those weird things. So I'll give it an availability scale of a 5 in this area, northeastern Pennsylvania, northeastern United States. As far as cost, like you said, what is it, 25 to $30 a bottle?
Yeah. I've seen the Bois, which is, I guess, the same at places for 32, 33, but
yeah, so
that's because they're price gouging.
Yeah, I would get. Well, no, that's what you get it for from Brewery off their website.
Yeah, $32.99.
Yeah, it's like 30 unless you're part of their whatever club, and then they give you a discount.
15%. Yeah.
So it's like it's not that much less expensive. I would give it a cost scale of a 5 because it's a really good beer, but this is 3 Hardies, and I'd rather have 3 Hardies than
these.
Yeah. So I mean, not the hank around Hardies all the time, but. You know,
when you have one, you'll know.
Yeah, when you have one, you will know.
And that's it.
So yeah, I mean, Brewery in general, I'm a fan of what they do. They don't make a bad beer. They actually don't make a bad beer. Even the beers that I'm not blown away by, I still like. So like their whole line is really good. So if you like good beer in general, the Brewery, if you can get it, you should give any of their beers a whirl. Their anniversary beers, whether it's the Bois or earlier or later, like the Sucre. If you're into big beers, if you're into barley wines, even though this is an old ale, semantics, I would definitely give it a whirl. So yeah, I'm Matt with Massive Beer Reviews.
I'm Wade.
Dr. Octave 1, check him out on YouTube.
Yeah, making beep beep bops.
Boop boop boop. And check him out on his YouTube channel. Hopefully you like our YouTube channel and you like our reviews. If you don't like our reviews or love them or whatever, complain, argue, yell, tell us anything in the comment section below.
Recommend beers to taste, and we'll try to find them.
We will find them, and we'll taste them. He's like the whatever they call. What would they be like the what's that show?
The Beer Hunter.
Yeah, we're not Michael Jackson. We're not going to steal Michael Jackson stuff.
Is he a beer hunter?
The Michael Jackson was the beer hunter. That's
I had no idea.
It was like what's the dudes with the old cars? Whatever. Anyway,
I don't know.
We'll find it. Whatever.
Rich guys. That's what they are.
Exactly.
And I'm not that. Because all my money goes into this.
Yeah. Which is not a bad thing. It goes here to there
to the liver
to here and
to
out
the
there.
toilet.
And it's just a cycle of life. Anyway,
yeah, IPAs.
If you want to check us out, Massive Beer Reviews, anywhere else on the internet, you can check us out. Massive Beers, Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. Definitely check us out on Twitter. That's where we're most active. And yeah, hopefully you enjoyed this review. Hopefully you enjoyed the other ones. Hopefully you enjoy future ones. Hopefully you're enjoying a good beer. And
it's got a good coating on the tongue now.
It is, right?
Yeah, it's getting a
It's
little
a good
coating.
beer.
It's got that little winey taste still going on. Yeah.
Cheers.
Well, you'll have to figure it out for your own.
Cheers.
Have a good night. Cheers.